Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome to Friday. On Friday is our Learn Day in our Lifer Update. So, first, let's start with the Lifer Update. I just want to thank you all for reaching out on my very vulnerable uh, discussion yesterday. And when I start these at the beginning, and many of you know this, I have no script. I go off the top of my head what I'm thinking about, and it's kind of like a free expression type thing. So in that vein, I never know really what it is we're going to talk about or what I'm going to discuss with you or share. And I just want to say I really appreciate the comments from yesterday. Some of the comments had to do with just people experiencing the loss and the transition of loss to where we're at now in our seeing signs and feeling connection with those who have left us. And so thank you for that. I so appreciate it. I want to tell you a little bit about the morning. We all went to mass, a lot of us. So there's 7 kids. So in any given point in time, normally there's about 5 out of 7 that show up because of where commitments and whatever. So that's exactly what it was. There were 5 of us there. And my aunt and my cousin showed up, and so we sat in the very back row, which I don't. I mean, I love the back row, but we just chit chatted the whole time, quite honestly. And although it was interesting, it was well. Anyways, I'm not getting off topic. So then later they wanted to go out for breakfast and coffee, and I had a couple of appointments, and I said I can't. And then they were talking about, well, is it bad to go for coffee at the diner and take up 6 seats or 5 seats? And when all you're getting is coffee, I said, well, get your coffee and come to my office. And so they sat in the classroom, and I took care of my two meetings that came in the front area. So it was so nice because I could hear them, and I was in the discussion for most of it, but I just had my appointments, and so I was able to do my work. They were able to have their conversations and connect in a nice way, and it was just a beautiful thing, and it was so nice. And I highly recommend connecting. As a general rule, connecting is a good thing. And I have seen my brothers during this all, and my sister, but we haven't really sat around a table. And the interesting thing about yesterday was that a lot of times when we're sitting around the table, our discussions are a little different because wait a minute, just what you say. I just want to see what you're saying because the last 2 years really made us appreciate. Yes, I love that. Good morning, Angela Harkins. How are you? So we have a few new people here, so that's awesome. So yesterday, Angela, and you can appreciate this, was my mother's birthday, and so we got together as a family, had a mass for her, and we got together after, like, around the table at the office, and it was just super special, and back to connection. So we connected. So at that table, I would say there was just about every political view that there is out there right now, and there was the same kind of thing about vax versus no vax. So we had a table full of people who were in really different places as far as those things go, which in my opinion has really kind of hurt our connection, because if you're talking with someone who is not where you stand on things, it's been a different kind of couple years. But it was so nice, and none of those things even came close to being talked about. And we just had such a good discussion and caught up on our kids and all that kind of stuff. So it was a great, great, great day. So speaking of connection, one of the things that I struggle with is this idea of people pleasing, not hurting someone's feelings, not like trying to always say something in a positive way. I struggle with confrontation, but yet I want to be a good communicator, and I want to have that connection that we talk about. So one of the things that I do, which you guys know, is I pick up books, and this one is called Radical Candor: How to Get What You Want by Saying What You Mean by Kim Scott. So I heard Kim on a podcast as a guest a couple weeks ago, and it was just a really good communication. And I loved the message. And I realized that in my striving to create a life of being able to be comfortable in my own skin, number one, fearing less, right? You never can be fearless, but you can fear less. And realizing that if I go for what I want, even if I fail, I'm still failing forward. And part of that has to do with being able to have those tough conversations. And as I say, I am not good at it. This week I was frustrated about some things, and I blew up basically at someone. And and I think that if I had the tools of radical candor, and I could have stated what I needed before in a better way, and if I could, and I could deal with the rejection of the person maybe not wanting to do that on the other side, it could have been a much better way of communicating and connecting and getting through that whole process. So we live, we learn. I am going to do this as a book club. So this is our February book, Radical Candor by Kim Scott. So our Fridays, we will do two things. We will catch up on life, and anybody is welcome. I will maybe even have some guests and we can talk about it. And if anyone is reading this book with me, we can do StreamYard as a way of inviting people onto the call as well. So let's do this. Let's get candid, right? I mean, I think in real estate, so many times we have to always, for our clients, make everything feel like no problem, right? Because they're already stressed out. We're trying to get to the end. We're the person that buffers like the cold, hard truth versus reality. And I'll give you an example. And this is my last example, then I'll let you get back to your world. Not too long ago, I had a client who was getting the house ready to go on the market. Super, super aggressive market where this person is. The house has so many great items to it. But it's, as it's unrolling, I'm finding out that there was a lot of work that was done un, unpermitted. And there's, a couple other issues we're working through and getting to. And just as like the last kind of, we're getting ready to hang up the phone, and he's like, "Oh, and you're going there this weekend? Well, I might want to, like, in that back room. When I was leaving, I saw a bat." And I'm like, "Oh, so radical candor." So radical candor means that somehow I have to say we got to get rid of the bat situation. And then the other part of me was like, don't want to upset the apple cart. This isn't listed yet. I could piss him off and he could go somewhere else, or like all these things are starting to go through my mind. And I don't want to, like, we are trained to deal with so many different obstacles that come up. So I'm like, it's no problem. Let's figure this out. We could do this. And I realized that as I was doing that, what happened in that conversation was I took his problem, which was the bats, and made him my problem when I'm like saying no problem. Right. So I relieved him of his angst and made it mine. So now I'm like, I got to go to the house. There's bats there, and I don't love bats. I'm like, I'll bring my net. What am I going to do? But the biggest, is there an infestation or is it one, and etc. Where our brain goes. But I made it my problem now, and so I didn't. This is why I think radical candor will help us in our jobs, right? I think that being able to say, all right, so here's our task. If there's something like that we can rectify, it's certainly better selling a house that does not have any infestations, you know what I mean? Anyway, this is why I need this book. I don't know if you do, but I hope that you do. Oh, Angela's going to read it with me. Angela, like, you don't even know how happy I am. You just made my day. All right. So friends, I will see you on Monday. I'm going to tell you another secret since we're telling secrets today. I have the house to myself for the weekend. Me and the dogs and the cat, right? So, but my husband is gone. There are no children around. There are no children in the area to pop in. I have a pretty open schedule. It's open in that I am doing something creatively that has been backburnered, and I keeps on coming to the front burner, and something like bats pushes it back. I'm like, this is not my problem. The exterminator is not my problem. Like this, like doing what I'm going to do this weekend is going to be that gift to myself. And guess what else I'm going to read? All right. So I'm just going to see how this is laid out, and I'm going to just give us a task on this. Yeah, Angela says that's what we do in our business for sure. We are the same. Grabbing this book. Thank you so much. I can't wait. All right. So I'm going to pick the spot that we're going to read to. All right, we're going to read chapters 1 and 2. That brings us, that's 40 pages. So chapters 1 and 2, and I'm going to tell you what the titles are of them. Chapter 1, well, there's introduction. Then chapter 1 is building radically candid relationships. I want, I want, I want. And then the one is get, give, and encourage guidance. So those are the two. I cannot wait for this book. So I will talk with you soon. I am so excited, Angela. I cannot wait to reconnect with you. And you know what? The other person is Facebook user. It doesn't say who you are. So I will find out when I get on Facebook later. And I'm so happy you're here. And let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm